Welcome to episode 42 of the Realtor for Hoopers interview series. Today's guest is a graduate of Denver East High School and a man who shot 47% his senior season at UC Irvine, which is crazy. From three, sorry, I need to specify that. Ross Schraeder.
Yeah.
Appreciate you, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Every time I flick the wrist, you can bet that it's a switch. Realtor for Hoopers, welcome to the main event. I'ma give the people what they ask for. Whole squad moving like a task force. We move with military precision, accomplishing any mission. In 2020 division, just don't see no competition, don't see no opposition. We on top of the game, we not one and the same. I'm Stephen Curry, the range, I Allen out with the cross. I'm Kobe Bryant, the fade, I'm one that's calling the plays. Now what else more can I say?
Well, the first question we kind of start everyone off with is tell us your basketball story. You can go as deep as you want, start when you're a little kid, whatever you want, but tell us your basketball story.
Yeah. So, interestingly, in this gym that we're in right now, Christ the King Catholic School, this is where I grew up. Grew up right down the street from here and spent hours and hours and hours in here, mainly with my brother and my dad, playing basketball, playing pretty much every sport.
Yep.
Started there. My dad was a high school coach. He played in college at Regis, what was then Regis College, now Regis University.
Yep.
And then he was the head coach at Denver East in the 70s and 80s. He was also an assistant coach at Regis College in the late 70s to early 80s. So I always grew up around the game.
Yep.
And then I had four older siblings. Three of my older siblings played college sports as well. One played college soccer, one played college volleyball, and another brother played college basketball. So was always around it. And
you knew how to compete from early on.
Yes, I would. That was I had to. Being the youngest of five kids, that was necessary.
Yeah.
Just continued to play. Played all sports, until I was probably 15, and at that point, I was like, all right, basketball. I always knew basketball was what I wanted to do in the long run. Started at Regis High School, actually played 2 years there, went to school there 2 years, and then transferred to East, which was a great move for me, and got to play with some very high level players. My junior year, we had 4 Division I players on our team. We were ranked as high as 12th in the nation. Senior year, got to play with some other good players. We were a lot younger, but a lot of fun. Then went to UC Irvine, University of California Irvine, played college hoops, redshirted a year, and then played 4 years after that. And after that, I was fortunate enough to go play in Spain. So played in Spain for 6 seasons in what was then called Leb Gold, which is second division. Now it's called Primera Feb or something like that. Okay. But played there for 6 seasons and also played for about 4 or 5 months in Italy at 2 different times.
Okay.
Because I have an Italian passport as well, so that kind of helped facilitate that. And then also had a quick 2-week tryout in Poland in which I got cut. But then I went to the south of Spain. So I always joke I need to write them a thank you letter for cutting me so that I ended up going to Spain.
I love it. Well, good. Well, that's awesome. Thanks. When you went to Italy, was it just to kind of fill the gaps between contracts in Spain?
Once it was. So I actually started in Italy because I had the Italian passport. Since I redshirted at Irvine, when my senior season ended, I was done with school already. And I actually went at the end of March. That was my first time going because my dad had been talking with an agent. He has an Italian passport, this and that. And so I got brought over by a first division Italian team, and they basically said, we're going to bring you over for a tryout. We're not going to sign you for the rest of the season, but we're looking at you for next year. I was like, oh, this is great. Fantastic. Great situation. When I got there, though, there were a lot of second division teams that needed somebody to finish out that year. So it's kind of a crazy situation. I mean, I had been there for 2 days and they bring me in and the first division team says, hey, we're going to sign you to a 3-year contract. Brought me in at 9 a.m. I didn't know what was going on. Wow. I hadn't even talked to my agent. I was like, it was pretty good money. And I was like, wait, what's going on? I called my Italian agent who I just met. Oh yeah, sign it. Like, go ahead.
Yeah, of course.
So what happened was I signed it, then they loaned me out to a second team. But the caveat was they didn't have to activate my contract till the end of June. So I see it. It was like, we don't really know about this guy yet. Let's see how he does. Then I got thrown into the middle of a playoff race when we had 4 of our Americans had all just gotten hurt or were out in various ways. So they brought me in like I was going to lead them to the promised land. I'm like, I don't even know what anybody's saying here. I just got to Europe 4 days ago. I've been playing college basketball. And so granted, lost 3 games, still backed into the playoffs. We were the last seed. We lost 0-3 to the top team. So I went 0-for-6 in my first 6 games. Played horrendously. Sure enough, they did not activate my contract from June.
Makes sense. Yep.
And so then I went to Poland, had a brief tryout there at the beginning of the next season, got cut. Was kind of questioning, like, all right, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
Is basketball really the thing? Told my agent, I said, hey, I have a buddy in Amsterdam. I'm going to just go hang out with him until something pops, because if it's easier for a European team to bring me over if I'm in Europe rather than at home. And 2 days later, I got a call from my agent. He said, hey, our Spanish guy has a tryout for you in the south of Spain in Leb Gold, which was super high level at that time. And I said, great. I went down. I was determined, played a Russian team for an exhibition game. I shot it really well, signed a contract, and stayed there for 6 seasons. And then after my 5th year, I finished early in Spain and went to Italy for another month.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's kind of how that worked
Love
out.
it.
Yeah.
Well, sweet. Well, since you spent so much time in Spain and you go back to Spain currently, and we'll get into that, what is your favorite thing off the court about Spain? Because if you keep on going back, there has to be something besides sports that keeps on bringing you back. What's something?
I mean, I love the culture of Spain and the people and the vibe. It's great weather. It's a lot of places that I've been are actually similar to Colorado, which is where I was born and raised. Very sunny, and similar to California too, where I went to school. It's very sunny. It's pretty warm. Just a really good vibe. Very laid back, which I love. The food is amazing. And I had the fortunate nature to play in 6 different cities that were kind of all over the country. I was in the South for 2.5 years. I was in the Northern Coast in the Basque Country for a year, in Castilla y León for 2 years, and I was just south of Barcelona. And Spain is very regionalistic.
Okay.
The Catalonians in Barcelona have their own view on what Spain is, as do the Basques, as do the people in the South. And I really feel like I got a good sense of, I was always very curious.
Yeah.
So I always talked to my teammates, always tried to get to know them, learned a lot about their culture.
Sweet. Well, thank you for going through that. So you're kind of post-career and all that, you've worked a lot in basketball and in soccer, but you have a new project kind of coming on. It's called Whyz Sports Experiences.
Correct.
So tell us kind of how that started and how that's going.
Yeah, it's I've been doing it as Via for about the last 7 or 8 months.
Okay.
I was previously working with a 3rd division professional soccer club in Spain that had an American ownership group doing something similar. We build through Via, we build international experiences for players. We bring over teams. They'll come over for a 7 to 10 day trip, compete against Spanish teams, train with Spanish coaches. Their families come. We show them around. We go to the beach. We go to cool sites. We go to La Liga matches, things like that. We also have some higher level training programs. We had 34 players from 13 different countries join for a month-long program in May. Wow. We signed 4 guys to pro contracts out of that, which was great. So you're talking like kind of semi-pro guys who maybe played in a lower division in some of the European leagues. We had a couple guys who played D2 college soccer. They're looking for some kind of opportunity over there. So we were able to help facilitate that. And then we ran a pro training program last month when we had about 30, I think we had 35 guys from about 12 different countries or 13 different countries. And that was about half and half. We had half the guys who were bona fide, current pros. Yeah. The other half who had played, looking for contracts. And we signed another 2 guys out of that, which was good. So really trying to provide unique opportunities for people from all over the world, really, to find their foot into European football, into Spanish football mainly. And it's gone really well. We actually just ran our first USA-based camp last week in California. We had 80 players there. We brought over 3 Spanish coaches for it, had a fantastic time. And that's kind of, I got into that because with Pro Skills Basketball, who I worked with previously for 11 years, we ran, we had 25 cities where we ran programs and club teams and camps and all that. We did a lot of international programs too. So I spent about 4 summers in China. We started a camp program there. I was going back there every summer running that. We eventually brought a team over to China to play basketball. We had a high school and college team. I started a camp program in Guatemala with basketball about 5 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago now. And we've gone down every summer. We've since expanded it to El Salvador and Costa Rica. And then we started some basketball trips going to London and then eventually Spain. And I had that international experience, always wanted to kind of bridge that gap between kids here and playing internationally just because I had that experience. And then when I decided to leave my basketball organization, I really just needed a change, just wanted to do something different, wanted to kind of get away from basketball for a second and had no idea what I was going to do and randomly ran into this opportunity to take people to Spain. And I wanted to get back to Europe. I wanted to be able to use my Spanish. and just kind of crazy how it all came together. It was just random connections. It all worked. The pro team I was working with was kind of a mess financially, so then that was why we went and separated and created our own independent group called Via, and it's going really well. We got 12 gap year kids coming this fall that'll be with us for 8 months over there that are 19 to 20 years old. And yeah, just kind of seeing where it goes and building little by little.
That's amazing.
Yeah, thanks.
Well, amazing on two fronts. One, that you didn't really have a soccer background.
No.
And all of a sudden you're running a soccer, soccer organization.
Sure.
And that item number two of why that's amazing is that to be able to, it's providing a platform to people that are looking for their next opportunity is amazing in America.
Mm-hmm.
But be able to do that internationally at this point, you put American as your quotations because you've traveled the world enough and know, especially the Spanish language enough that it's not like you're just a random guy coming up there trying to bring some people to America or whatever. They know you enough and they can ask around with, you have enough equity built in that country where you'd be doing just fine. But it's great that you're taking something a sport that you don't necessarily have experience in, but understand enough of how the world works and all that to be able to give these kids and even these pros another opportunity. It's amazing.
Yeah, no, thanks. I appreciate that. And yeah, it's the good thing is the guys that I work with in the organization are bona fide soccer pros.
Yeah.
So our main coach is a guy who actually, he holds the record he's the Spaniard who's played in more countries than any other player. He's played in 16 different countries.
Jeez.
He's 39. He's still playing in Gibraltar. We have a connection with a team in Gibraltar, which is down at the south of Spain. So he still plays. And then our other guy is an American who was actually one of the top players in the country as a 16-year-old, 17-year-old. Went to Villarreal's academy. He's from California. Went to Villarreal's academy, which is an absurd thing to do for an American.
Okay.
Got to be a pro at 18, 19. Had a rare genetic condition that forced him to medically retire 2 seasons ago. So he's young. He's 23, but he's seen the highest levels, and he's an awesome kid and does a great job. So it's nice being able to associate with those guys. And then last week at our camp in the U.S., we had a guy he goes by Mista, and most of the Americans don't know him, but if you ask any person in Spain, they're like, "Oh, Mista, he was a leading scorer in La Liga back in 2002, won 2 La Liga championships, played for Valencia, Real Madrid, and it's just like, so I'm driving in the car with this guy, and he's just casually telling stories about I was Zinedine Zidane, I was with Messi, I was with Ronaldo, and I'm like, oh yeah, cool, right on. I'm just driving the mountains of California with this guy who's one of the highest level players in Europe for 10 years. So it's good associating with those kind of people.
It sounds like you've got a really good team kind of built, and it's only going to help you guys succeed going forward.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, thank you.
Well, good. Well, a little bit of transition here, kind of talking about youth sports. I say over the last few years, we'll call it, what do you think has been one good development about youth sports, and then maybe one bad development about youth sports? Yeah,
I think I would kind of relate, both of those answers are kind of the same. And the reason I say it is over the last, let's call it 5 to 10 years. And I was heavily involved in club basketball in this country for a long time. Like I said, we had 23 cities where we ran programs. I ran our Denver program. We ran Steph Curry's teams based out of Charlotte. We ran Team Curry for a number of years. And so in the middle of all of that. And I like the fact that there are so many opportunities for people to play right now. You can play as much as you want. You can play in as many games and tournaments and trainings and all of that. It's always available to any player these days. And I think it shows in that you have players who, I always say that the least talented player on my team 20 years ago, the least talented player today is way better than the least talented player on my team 20 years ago. But then on the bad side of youth sports, it's the same thing. You always have an opportunity to be trained and play in a game and play in a practice. And I think we've missed some of the hey, go out and get with your friends and play pickup. And find a place to play. Go work on your own. We've created it into this thing that everything has to be so structured.
Yes.
And it's, I think you see it even, I love the NBA, and the NBA is incredibly talented. It's absurd, the level of talent. But even that, you see, it's so everybody plays the same way. And it's so structured. And even I always joke like the substitution patterns in regular season NBA. It's like a youth league. It's like 6 minutes. I got to take this guy out. 3 minutes. I got to take this guy out. And I get it. You got a long season. You got to do it. If I was a coach, I'd do the same thing. But the amount of opportunities that we've given kids and young players, it's dangerous at times because they need everything. Like these kids grow up and like, well, I need an air conditioned gym. I need to be inside. I need to have a nice glass backboard, nice balls. And I'm like, yeah, it's great because it is available in a lot of spaces. But you're like, man, that's just it's not what we grew up with. And not to say that what we grew up with is better. It's just there's a lack of free play and a lack of just that creativity. I think
it seems like the pendulum has swung a little bit to the other side. What I would say is that I think when we were growing up, we're the same age. Growing up, it was more about two things. One, about the love of the game.
Sure.
And being able to play in a lot of different structures with a lot of different types of players and a lot of different roles.
Sure.
And now it's, I think, swung to more where it is a more analytical, more pressure-based,
sure,
more whatever, and role-based where, I mean, there's some college players now that if you put them on the floor with a few different types of players, they don't actually know how to succeed because they've only been a ball handle, pick and roll player, or they've only been a slasher, or they whatever. They can't play different roles where playing pickup as we were growing up, like, I don't care if there's a 7-footer on my team and he's the best guy, or we have a little quick point guard that can drive and kick and whatever. I know how to play off of all of that. Based on not just one defined role of like, hey, after I slash cut here, I cut through the corner and stand there.
Sure.
Like after that, you know what I'm saying? What do you do? Like, well, then we got they'd set a back screen. They're like, like all those things have, I think kind of subsided a little bit. And I hope that we kind of find this middle. Because I agree with you, like being able to have the access to young youth players now to, I would say, high-level coaches, good basketball minds, good, I guess not even basketball, just sports in general.
Sure.
Like having access to that is great, but it can't just be all about that. It needs to just be some freedom, love of the game, just out there and hooping or playing or whatever.
Correct. Yeah. So. And I think I phrase it in this way too, going along those lines. We've lost that like intermediate level of basketball that kind of helped facilitate some of that. Like right now, it's either the most basic rec for a kid that's usually not very good. It's very introductory, which is fine. But it's like once you get halfway decent, like that's kind of a waste of time. And then you jump right into club now. And within club now, there's 10 different levels, but they all get intermixed. And sometimes you're playing against this team that's way better or way worse. And it's just like it makes an interesting situation. And I look at a lot of the sports I played growing up where I had my 4-month baseball season, but we had really good coaches in there. And it was intermediate level baseball. But it was like I learned a lot from that. And I felt like if I would have tried to play baseball, I'm not saying I would have been a really good player. But I'm like, I could have probably played throughout high school, just having that level. And nowadays it's like, if you're not in that club level playing all the time, like by the time you get to high school, you're like, you're going to kind of be behind a little bit unless you're just a freak athlete. And so, it's interesting. And I love the opportunities that are provided for everybody, but it's almost like, man, we just need to get back to some free play and having some fun and enjoying it and going out and, grabbing 9 of your friends and playing pickup for 4 hours.
I love it. Sweet. All right. Well, now we're going to go to a little bit more fun basketball debate question. So I have my answer.
Sure.
So if I differ, I'll let you know. But you can use whatever criteria you want. But what do you think is the best duo in NBA history?
Yeah. I mean, it's a tough one. Michael Jordan's my guy. So like I'm inclined to just say, Michael and Scotty, that's the easy one there. Obviously up there, you can't debate any of that. But I'm going to argue Clay and Steph. And I'm going to argue those two because I don't think two people, and it's not just them, it's Steve Kerr in the mix and Draymond being there. It's never just
the
two.
system they put in place.
The system they put in place. But having the level of shooting out of those two guys in that system has really changed the way the NBA looks right now. Like they were the catalyst for it. And I don't think maybe I'm wrong, but you could probably argue there is somebody, but there's not another duo in my mind that shifted how everybody plays the game. And we rely on 3-point shooting, and it is that analytical and all that. And the thing I like about them is they won championships over a good like 7-year stretch, and so had different guys. I know they had KD, which is crazy. They had great players, but it's like when you look at their rosters, they were, other than Draymond Green and Steve Kerr, it was those two, and then a bunch of other guys. So I just like the shift they made in the game.
I would. So I was literally thinking of this question, and when I said whatever criteria you did, I said, what are the duos that changed the way the other teams had to play basketball?
Sure.
So Steph and Clay were one, and the one I came up with, and literally this is a little bit of a homer because I'm a Laker fan, but was Shaq and Kobe.
Sure. Yeah.
Because for a good 5-year period, every team had to have, I need 12 fouls.
Yeah.
I need 12 fouls so I can just foul Shaq and put him to the free throw line.
Totally.
And then whenever even Shaq was having a bad game, you had young Kobe just a killer,
crazy.
Just go crazy.
Yeah.
So like, I would have liked to see that for a little bit longer stint and see what they would have been able to accomplish. But to me, it was either from an accomplishment standpoint, again, Jordan Pippen, there's really hard to go against that.
Yeah.
But as far as people that really changed the game of how it is played going forward, like Steph and Clay and Shaq and Kobe didn't that's a good argument to be said.
I agree. And Shaq and Kobe, I was when I was in college at UC Irvine, that was 01 to 06. So right in the middle of the Lakers run and
three-peat and all that.
Yeah. And I mean, so it was my best friend from college roommate, he's like a bona fide diehard Lakers fan. Yeah. So I mean, we always had the Lakers on.
Yeah.
And like watching those games, it was just like he'd hit me up. You see what Kobe did today? You see what they did today? Yeah. And it's just that's hard to argue that one.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
All right, well, we got 2 more questions for you. So you've said a lot about your story, said a lot about during this conversation, but what is one thing you want to make sure that people take away from your story?
Yeah, I mean, I think, throughout the course of my life, it's just being open to opportunities that come your way, and you never know where they're going to come from. And for me, I'm kind of, I like to do things a little different, go against the grain a bit, and try new things that maybe some people wouldn't necessarily do. And I've been very fortunate to find great people in my life having that mindset, and great people in so many different countries too. Yep. And that's, I'm just always one who thinks that, the more you can open yourself up to new experiences and finding somebody who might change your life wherever it might be, you never know where that's going to come. And sometimes you got to travel far for it. Sometimes you walk across the street and you see it. And so that's really how I've tried to live and be open to new experiences whenever I can.
Man, that's a great word of wisdom, just being open to something that may be different and scary, but it could change your life for the better.
Totally.
So, I love that. That's a great one. All right. Well, last question is, and sometimes it's the hardest one to answer because you can only say one thing, but what is your one favorite thing about hoop?
For me, it's the teammates and being in the locker room and all of that. When I think back on what I miss the most from being a player, it's that. Yeah. It's being around those guys on a consistent basis, joking in the locker room, then going out and having to compete with each other, getting on each other and practice or a game and not worrying about it and letting it go and having to figure out a way to compete again. I mean, just that dynamic in basketball is what I love, and that's what I miss the most. It's always fun, playing is great. You go on a little heater shooting. Yeah. You're like, oh yeah, that felt good.
Yeah.
But
I still got it.
It's like, it feels fantastic. But at the end of the day, it's more like the guys that you play with, and I mean, I'm still super tight, especially with a couple guys I played with overseas. I talked to one of the guys I played with for 2 years. He's a Spanish guy. He lives in the States, so I talk to him pretty much every week. And we always are joking about stories of when we played. It's one of our teammates or whatever it is. So that's what I love.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
And I'm going to throw a curveball because I forgot this question earlier. So we're going to ask you now. We have a common friend in Jason Nygren.
Yep.
And so he told me about this dunker offense that you guys co-created.
Sure.
So I want to hear the story from your perspective of how that was created, success you had in it, and all of that.
It was super fun. I mean, I've known Jason for probably about 15 years now, but we've really known each other for about 10, 11 years where we were coaching a lot together and everything. And so I got the head coaching job at Match Buff High School, just small Catholic school here in Denver. And Jason was the first person. I was like, hey, you want to come coach with me? And like, yeah, sure. I was like, all right, man, this will be fun. And I eventually got my dad to come coach. So it was actually a lot of fun. But yeah, Jason and I were just kind of sitting there one day, like, you know, how can we be a little bit different? And I think we were running out of bounds play, and we were like, what if we actually ran an offense based on like playing on the baseline? And it was right when the dunker started to become fashionable in the NBA and everything. And so we just kind of started talking about it. Then we built kind of a lacrosse mindset in, like the idea of if you play behind the goal, right? And like you're basically playing behind the basket. And we always wanted to get a guard down there. That was a little bit of a challenge just because guards aren't used to going down there. We wanted to invert the court. And, you know, but we actually had a good kid who was a big kid. He was like 6'5", strong, and he did great. He would get right at the dunker, and we'd send cutters off in different ways. And it really led to this amazing spacing on the court because we looked at it like, you know, that bottom half of the court, if you took like the like first hash mark or second hash mark to the baseline, when you watch most teams, like there's nobody in that area. We're all like right in here rather than using the whole thing. And so we just thought that would be interesting and it would create interesting spacing. And then Jason and I also, like, we love shooters. And so we encourage the guys at practice. Sometimes we'd be like, all right, NBA threes, and like launch them, let them fly. Like, you know, we had average level shooters, below average level shooters, be like, let it fly. Like shoot from deep, space the court out, you know, just create this massive space. And in our second year of doing it, first year was a little rough. And then second year we had a lot of guys back, and we made the state tournament and won a game to go to the state tournament off of like playing out of the dunker, cut like a score in the last 10 seconds. And it was super fun. It was, and it was great because Jason and I work really well together where, you know, he'd come in and be like, hey, you know, I was thinking about this. I was like, great, do it.
I love
Try it. Like, it's fantastic. Like this is a kind of a basketball experiment. I knew that I wasn't going to be a long time head coach. I didn't want to do it in the long term. So I would always talk. I was like, this is more just a chance to experiment and see what we can do.
That's awesome.
So it was a lot of fun.
That's great. Yeah. And I think what's from a basketball technical perspective, if you imagine like that you said, like behind the goal, like a lacrosse mindset, the moment that ball goes to that dunker, like what happens to all the defensive heads? They turn.
Yeah.
And so they turn. So that means all the people that are in front of the basket can cut, can move, and whatever. And if you have a good decision maker in that dunker spot, there's a cut, there's a back cut there, there's a kick out three, there's it's actually somewhat genius. And I wish we had that dunker spot a lot sooner in basketball because it does. I mean, there's a good, I don't know, call it 5-6 feet of space that nobody accesses because they're afraid to get stuck behind the backboard on a short corner shot. Well, so then
totally.
So like,
and it's like you said, your defensive point is that's what we would talk about a lot. Is it like throws defensive principles on its head a little bit because you're kind of like, wait, like where am I looking? And like you guys like all the way on the baseline, but like my guy's over there. And we used to get the cut. Whenever we threw it to the dunker, we'd send a guy cutting from the top of the key every time.
Straight down the middle lane.
Just straight down the middle lane. That was automatic. It went in, it was an automatic cut. And that guy would be open often, but we weren't quite talented enough to complete that pass. But at our level, what then was always open was the next guy replacing it. And now a kick out from the dunker, straight on, catching it top of the key. Like you don't have to turn. And then we would hit that shot relatively often with average level shooters just because it was like, this is the easiest shot you're ever going to get.
It's a practice shot.
Correct. And so that was even part of it was like, make your passes from like direct from the basket out. And I don't have to like turn. It's like, oh, I'm just stepping directly into that. You're going to be a higher percentage shooter.
For sure.
And so, yeah, it was a blast. And then also what it did was it gave us, I had a 5'10" kid who would get like 5 offensive rebounds a game because he would it was so spaced and we'd shoot these deep threes and they would come off right at the free throw line. He would literally just run to the free throw line. He'd catch it, and he never wanted to shoot. He was great. He would catch it and then just look for the next shooter. I was like, well, there's our highest percentage 3 off an offensive rebound, so like let it fly again.
That's amazing. That's so cool.
It was a lot of fun. It was. And
I'm sure once the kids got it and understood it, they
had a blast. They had a blast, and I mean, we were not shy about shooting. I didn't care. It was like if you know, don't take bad shots, but I was like, if we've moved the ball, if we've gotten it inside out. You're open. I was like, that's going to be better. We might turn it over if we try to make 2 more passes. So let's shoot it. When we went to the state tournament, I'll never forget this. It was hilarious. We had a possession. I still have it on my phone where we shot, no joke, like I think 6 like 25-foot threes in one possession and kept getting the offensive rebound. And we finished with a layup and off of a cut. And And I remember after like the second three, I'm on the opposite side and I'm like, patience. Third three went up and I just looked at the bench. I was like, why change now? I was like, I keep shooting it, man. Like, let it fly. You're open. Who cares? Like, we're not changing right now. It's a state tournament.
That's amazing.
So
man.
it was fun.
Well, sweet. Well,
Yeah.
Ross, I appreciate your time, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah. Thanks,
Okay.
Adam.
Thanks.
Yeah, thanks.
Every time I flick the wrist, you can bet that it's a switch. Realtor for hoopers, welcome to the main event.